Hi everybody, Craig here. Welcome to the start of a new Age of Wonders 3 playthrough series. This series is going to be a 1 versus 2 versus 2 game. Let's get to the actual setup. So, as you can see here, the AI are going to be set to Emperor difficulty. Now, just to remind everybody, this is the highest difficulty setting that I can put the AI on. The map size will be set to medium. Now, this is recommended for 2 to 4 players, but I think having 5 players will actually be okay on medium map size, as that will kind of give us, hopefully some early game conflict, but will also, and you'll see this as I set up other elements of the game here, I think we'll be okay given that we're going to take advantage of the surface, the underground, and also the Shadow Realm, which I'll talk about more going forward. The map type is going to be set to land. The game flow is going to be normal. Let's take a quick look at the advanced settings as well. Our starting town will be an outpost. Starting distance will be far. Everything else is going to be set to average, with the exception of cities being set to few. And this is, once again, kind of like in my previous series with the High Elf Archdruid, where I'm trying to encourage myself to have to kind of use settlers a little bit more often, as that's something I'm not necessarily as good at doing. So I'm trying to kind of force myself to have to settle my own cities, hence the few there. And I think that'll also make for, again, sort of interesting gameplay dynamics. Now, geography is going to be default. And importantly, as I mentioned, we're going to have the surface, the underground, and although you do not see it here, we're also going to have the Shadow Realm enabled, which is a third layer to the map. Now, the Shadow Realm is added by the Shadow Realm mod expansion pack that I have installed, and I have a number of other mod packs installed, including Chivalrous Intentions, as well as the Wasteland Expansion pack, which is actually created by the same individual who made, or team of individuals, excuse me, who created the Shadow Realm expansion pack. If you're at all interested in any of the mods I'm using in this series or any of my other playthrough series, please take a look at the video description as I list all of the mods there. Okay, so let's move on, and let's actually set up the teams. So we're going to have, as I said, 1 versus 2 versus 2. So I'm going to be the 1, and then we're going to have a team of 2, and then another team of 2. And we're actually going to have this also be a seals game, and I think I'm going to leave it set to 24 seal charges. I think that's what I had it set to for my High Elf Archdruid series, and I never ended up really getting to actually use the seals at all. I ended up just killing off my 2 opponents. So I think if I have seals enabled in this situation, maybe they'll actually come into play, and I'll explain more about that going forward here. But let's take a look at the advanced rules. So we have all the options on the right side enabled, so that's kind of standard. But we also are going to have a few different options here on the left side, as you can see. So starting skills are set to few, although I guess for myself, most of the games that I've done, I think I've always set this to few. I like starting off with fewer skills, as then you kind of have to pick and choose what you're researching in the early game. Heroes are going to have Resurgence Never, and then everything else is kind of standard here. And then again, max number of heroes we'll have at 4, and max hero level is going to be 30. So, a big difference from, I think, probably the last 3 or 4 Age of Wonders series, Age of Wonders 3 playthrough series that I've done, is that in this case, I'm actually going to customize my AI opponents. And there's a reason I'm going to do this, and that actually kind of has to do with what I was mentioning earlier about having, taking full advantage of all 3 layers of the map, so the surface, the underground, and the Shadow Realm. And what I'm going to try to do here is actually have myself, I'm going to probably start on the surface, given that you'll see in a minute which leader I'm going to be playing as, although you can probably guess from the video description, title, excuse me. But anyway, so one team I'm going to have try to kind of spawn underground, and the other I'm going to have try to spawn perhaps in the Shadow Realm. And you'll see kind of how I set that up. So enough of my yammering, let's actually get to it. So as you probably can tell from the video title, I'm going to be playing as a Tigran Necromancer. Now, again, I've said this a number of times, but Necromancer is absolutely my favorite class, and it's been a while since I've actually done a Necromancer series, and I think that time has come once again. I haven't actually played as the Tigrans yet on the channel, so I thought this would be a good opportunity to still do something new while also doing something that I perhaps, again, have done before and hopefully you're not tired of at this point. I think there's going to be an additional benefit to playing as the Necromancer in this situation, given that I have Chivalrous Intentions installed, so there's going to be a number of new units. So even if you've watched my previous Necromancer series, there should still be something new for you to kind of enjoy. And again, for myself, I haven't really fully experienced Chivalrous Intentions at all, aside from what you've seen in my previous series where I was playing as Taron of the Trees. So again, this is going to be a lot of fun, I think, for me and hopefully for you guys too. Now, if you look at what I've got for a setup here, I'm going to be going with kind of my standard Necromancer flavor, I guess you would say, for specializations here. I'm going to be going with Shadowborne, Adept, and Master. The main reason for this is to just kind of get more out of lifesteal. So with Shadowborne Master, I'm going to be able to dedicate my troops to evil and basically get them to have additional lifesteal as well, which is going to be extremely powerful. And then there's a number of other abilities. The one thing I do like as well about Shadowborne Master is that you get access to the Fallen Angel, which you can summon, which is a very, very powerful Tier 4 unit. I actually much prefer the Fallen Angel to the Necromancer class unit, which I actually find not quite as useful in the way that I like to play Necromancer. Not to say that the unit isn't great. I believe that's the Dread Reaper, if I'm not mistaken, is the name of the unit. But I actually find them not to be as useful for the way I play. So that's kind of why I like Shadowborne Master. And then, of course, I'm going with Expander, as I'm going to be playing an evil alignment, and I'm going to be migrating a lot of cities. And so Expander will allow me to migrate them more quickly with some of the upgrades. So that's what I'm going for there. Now, as for some synergies with the Tigrans here, just a couple things to point out. So we're going to have our 40% spirit protection, which is going to help offset the spirit weakness that we're going to have for being undead. Now, unfortunately, we are going to have a -1 resistance, so we will have to be very, very careful of any elemental damage, as that's going to be kind of dangerous for us. But we are going to have that 20% frost weakness, which is actually going to be offset by being undead. So again, the strengths of the Tigran will kind of cover up some of the weaknesses of being undead, and then kind of vice versa. So hopefully that actually works out pretty well. And of course, the Tigrans tend to have a little bit better mobility, which is also hopefully going to help us out. Otherwise, I think we're going to proceed here, and we'll actually get to pick our opponents, which again is a little bit different for us in that lately we haven't gotten to do that. I've been kind of leaving it to random, but I think in this case it's going to make things more exciting. So as I mentioned, that first team, I would like to have them underground. So let's pick perhaps goblins, as they do well underground. So now I'm going to have to think, what do I want for a goblin? I think maybe a goblin rogue would be a tough opponent. So let's go with Yizzo the Rat here, and we're going to have Yizzo spawn underground. So that's opponent number 1. Now, Yizzo's teammate, I think we're probably going to go with an orc, because again, orcs can do well underground, and that'll sort of be the greenskin alliance of the orcs and the goblins. That'll kind of make sense. So let's go with an orc, and I'm thinking perhaps an orc theocrat. So why don't we go with Gamblag, Master of Origins here, and we'll also have him spawn underground. That's going to be the first team. Now, the second team, I think we're going to try to kind of be more in the Shadow Realm. And the way that I'm going to do this is I'm going to pick a Shadow Elf opponent, and then also probably a Draconian opponent. Now, the caveat is that Draconians can spawn either above ground on the surface, but they also, as kind of being magical beings themselves, can spawn in the Shadow Realm. Because, again, Draconians do get Shadow Walker. So, enough yammering, though. Let's see. So, who do we want for a Shadow Elf? Maybe a Shadow Elf Dreadnought would be kind of interesting. So, we could go with Crador Eulora here. That wouldn't be bad. Another option would perhaps be an Archdruid Shadow Elf. You know what? That I think would be pretty cool. So, why don't we go with Sidran of Shading Winds? And we will have... Now, again, so we cannot actually pick the Shadow Realm, which is a little bit unfortunate, but what I'm going to do is go by default spawn location, since Tigran is a Shadow Elf, I believe he will start in the Shadow Realm. So that's what we're going to do there. And now, we're going to also, as I said, pick a Draconian. And again, Draconians can spawn in the Shadow Realm by default. So, let's see now. What kind of Draconian should we go with? Oh, and you know what? I think an old tried and true opponent here. Let's go with Karashar Moorclaw, the Draconian Sorcerer. Sorcerer is a good class that kind of goes well with Draconians. So, I think Karashar will make a good opponent. Now, we're going to, again, go with default here. And I think that means that there's a chance that Karashar will spawn in the Shadow Realm. But again, he may spawn on the surface, and that's okay too. We're going to definitely, though, have one opponent in the Shadow Realm. At least I'm pretty darn sure, as a Shadow Elf, I believe will spawn there by default. And then we're also going to have 2 opponents underground. So that's going to make things a bit more tricky when it comes to kind of dealing with the map. So we're going to start here. And it looks like primary color has already been taken, so we will continue with a random color, absolutely. And then, as I said, so while the game is setting up, the fact that we have opponents underground and then some in the Shadow Realm, I think is going to make things kind of interesting for me. But of course, there's another aspect to this, which is that I'm actually going to potentially have an advantage being in the overworld because there won't really be as much competition. So this may actually play to my favor, but we'll have to see. So here I am. Ramhotep Devilclaw, Tigran Necromancer, your rise to power begins. Okay, and I like this red and black combo. I really like the aesthetic there. Now, we've had a hero offer to join, and of course, since we're playing a Necromancer, we always get a Necromancer as our first hero. So we're getting Jafsar the Unholy. Let's take a look. Show me your talents. So I'm not seeing anything in particular. He does have Devout Slayer, I guess kind of by default. So fairly standard Necromancer otherwise, so we will accept. Absolutely. Now, as I said, this is a Seals game, so you can see here we need to get 24 charges. It looks like there are 2 Seals in the area, so those will probably be hotly contested. Protect your leader and Throne City. Of course, that's always the standard. If we lose our hero and our Throne City, we're out of the game. Allied victory is enabled. And then defeat all rival empires. Okay. Let's see what we started with for spells here. Oh, very nice. We have Whispers of the Fallen. This is absolutely one of my favorite spells to have in the early game. So what this basically does, and again, this is an early game spell for the Necromancer that I think is absolutely... well, I think it's very, very powerful is what I'll say. So, battles fought within 16 hexes of your cities and fortresses become visible. This spell doesn't affect vassal cities. But effectively what this does is you gain a small amount of knowledge for each unit killed in combat. And this can give you a massive boost to your early game research, causes effectively. And we've also got Corrupt the Source, which will allow us to turn any of the Great Farm, Spring of Life, Inn, or Well of Life into something that would actually benefit us as a Necromancer, given that our mechanics are a little bit different. So I was actually hoping to be able to summon some Lost Souls as well, but that's fine. Let's see what we started with for units here. Oh, nice, and we got a Tier 3 Tigran Cavalry. You can see here we have a Ghoul Tigran Royal Chariot. So let's take a closer look. So this is, I believe, a unit added by Chivalrous Intentions. And you can see here that we've got Throw Sun Spear, so kind of like a standard Tigran Chariot. But we've also got Strong Will. Now, this is huge, as it's going to give us Spirit, almost full Spirit protection. Of course, the only problem is that being undead and a Ghoul gives us 60% Spirit weakness, which, even with 140%, we're still not totally immune. But we have 80%, which is pretty darn good. And then, of course, that Frost protection from being undead is very helpful. So... you can see here we have Immolating Projectiles, which is going to help us out when we're throwing that Sun Spear, I suppose. Otherwise, we are fairly standard. Just looking here if there's anything else kind of special about this unit. Of course, it has Predator as a Tigran, so that's good. More damage on attacks of opportunity. Otherwise, fairly standard. Oh, and look at this. We have a Tigran Muse. Let's take a look. So the Tigran Muse has Inspiring Aura, which would benefit our units with additional morale, although, of course, I don't think that actually affects... Yeah, as you can see here, that's not actually going to impact any of my units because they're ghouls, so morale isn't really a factor here. Otherwise, a fairly... Oh, we do have Spirit Rays, so that's kind of cool. We have the opportunity to at least do some spirit damage. Otherwise, we have a Shredder and 2 Cheetahs. Okay, so not bad. At least we got ourselves a Tier 3 unit, which is definitely going to help us out. You can see here we've also got ourselves a Saber-Tooth Chariot, which, of course, we always get that one cavalry unit. So I think what I'm going to do is use one of the Cheetah units here as a scout. So I have to kind of decide, now, where do I want to go to do some scouting? Now, I can see here a Corrupted Farm, which is great for us. That's going to help us out with our growth. And then we've also got a Mana Node, which I definitely want to get my hands on when the city grows here, because I need more mana income, as you can see, especially since I do want to cast Whispers of the Fallen. And hopefully when I clear this out, I'll actually gain some mana, which would be very helpful. Looks like we've got another farm down there. And then we've got a Cartographer's Tent. So I think probably the first thing I'm going to do is head straight for that Cartographer's Tent. So let's do that with our little Tigran Cheetah. Perfect. Okay, so there's our nearby Tigran city, which we're going to head over to. You can see here we've got ourselves a trading post, which is fairly close by. And then you can also see the Corrupted Farm here is guarded by a Nightmare and a couple of Lost Souls. So I think what I'll probably do is send my army up north to grab this Mana Node, and then probably head over and clear out the Corrupted Farm. I'm noticing here there's also a Dire Vulture, which is a unit I'm not familiar with. So this is a unit that has Devour Corpse, Lifesteal... Oh, Undead Slayer. Okay, I have to be very careful because that unit will do more damage to my undead. So I have to be kind of cautious of that. I'm glad I checked, because otherwise I wouldn't have known that. So now, where to go with this cheetah next? Oh, and look at that. I see a necromantic circle down there, so I'm going to have to clear that out, because of course that's going to threaten my city. I think around turn 5 it'll start spawning units, so I'll have to be very careful with that. Now, the question is, do I want to clear some more of the mist around here, or do I perhaps want to kind of start heading down this way to see what else is there? I think maybe what I'll do, since I'm going to add my hero into this stack, I have the opportunity to do a bit more scouting, so I think I'm going to actually take the other cheetah and head north, and there's some gold up there I can grab, so let's do that. And that will kind of help with just getting a better idea of what's around us. So it looks like there is some water to the north. Okay. So now the question is, do I want to head over and see what's across the bridge, or do I want to maybe see what's a little closer around my city? I think I'm going to head north just a touch to see. Okay, so it looks like there's a road that goes off that way. And then I think I'm going to retreat back because I want to see what's over here. Meanwhile, with this scout, I think I'm going to head over here. Oh, and look at this. Okay, so we've got ourselves some Scrolls of Knowledge, which would be great. And it's guarded by an Ifrit and 2 Wisps. So the Ifrit is a floating unit, a regular, that has Firebolts, Melee Strike, and Inflict Immolation. Very cool. So it's kind of like a Fire Spirit. That's pretty neat, and it's a magical origin. I really like this unit. The design of it is very cool. Blight protection, fire protection, 100% of course, and some frost weakness. Okay, so let's get to some battling here, I think. I want to get this going, especially I want this mana node cleared out. So what we're going to do is we're going to move our army that way. We're going to add our hero in. And now we can start clearing structures. So let's use our Saber-Tooth Chariot because, of course... Oh, and yeah, we're definitely going to get the evil points here. That's going to help us out early. We'll do this one manually. So the name of the game and the way I really like to play Necromancer is to try to get as much experience with my heroes, my Necromancer heroes, as I possibly can. I want to get to level 7, and when I get to level 7 with my heroes, I can get Greater Reanimate Undead, and then this is a way that I can basically steal undead units and add them into my forces. And in particular, I want to then go and raid like tombs and things like that that have basically guaranteed spawns of undead. And I can try to get myself like some of the higher tier Archon units, like an Archon Titan or a Wraith King. But the one I really want also is a Deathbringer. Because if I can get a Deathbringer, then I can get Ghoul Curse. And I can often get a hold of those much earlier than I would be able to actually research them. So, and be able to produce them myself. So that's kind of the game plan. So what I'm going to do is I want to light up these Wisps for some range damage there, and then probably just move up and get the kill with Ramhotep here. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. Okay, very nice. Now, this Wisp is almost certainly going to teleport in and hit some of my units, but that's fine. The Plane-Touched Goblin, if I remember correctly, they explode when they die. Yeah, there it is. So I got to just make sure that I kill him off before he's able to do too much damage to me by exploding on me, basically. So I think what I'm going to do is just spread my units out so that when the inevitable teleport in from the Wisps happen, I'm in good shape. So here it is. Yep, going after my heroes as expected. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my Saber-Tooth Chariot. I'm going to throw the spear. Very good. And then I'm going to do the same thing with my... Actually, you know what? Maybe I'll use my Shredder to actually get rid of this Wisp. Yeah, there we go. And that's going to free up my heroes to blast the Plane-Touched Goblin for some damage here. And again, they're not going to do a ton, so... Oh, I really like the extra mobility that these Tigrans have. It's very nice. Okay, and then let's do some more blasting here. There we go. And then some big damage from Ramhotep. Probably the kill. Yeah, there we go. Excellent. That's exactly what we needed. Very good. So there's that extra mana that we needed, and now we should be able to start casting, bingo, Whispers of the Fallen. So this is going to be very, very useful for us, as I mentioned, to help us get that early game extra knowledge that's going to help us accelerate our research. All right, so now let's head over and start clearing out some of these structures. Now, it's a shame I don't have control on Dead yet, because I'd be able to try to recruit some of these Lost Souls, but that's all right. So we'll head over here. When I see some more mana crystals up there, that would be something my scout could perhaps go and grab. So we'll go like this, and then we will use Ramhotep himself to... Actually, you know what? We'll use our Royal Chariot, because the Royal Chariot has the most movement along with Ramhotep. So we'll engage the battle. Nice. Another No Mercy. More evil points, which we definitely want to accrue. Okay. Now, we're going to have to be careful, because, as I said, this Dire Vulture does have extra damage against undead, which is going to be potentially problematic for us. So, let's see here. You know, I didn't look at what we started with for battle, in-battle spells. Look at this. We start with Dark Gift. Now, that's a tier 3 spell that we don't have enough casting points for right now, but down the road, that could be really useful, as it gives all of our units Inflict Curse and +2 physical damage until the end of combat, which is actually a pretty major upgrade for a lot of our units, so that's pretty good. Let's take a look at what Jafsar has. Okay, nice. Jafsar has Stiffened Limbs, which is like the Necromancer classic tier 1 spell that you can really do a lot with, actually. It's really easy to sleep on this one, but when I say sleep on it, I mean to kind of underestimate the utility of this one. But as you can see here, units with Stiffened Limbs suffer minus 12 movement, minus 2 defense, and minus 2 physical melee damage. And it's permanent. Like, once you throw that on there, unless you're able to get rid of it with, like, a Dispel or something, it's on there. So, really powerful ability, actually. And, of course, Death Ray, which is our way to do damage, so that's not so bad. And Desecration as well. So, basically, it hurts devout units, and it buffs all my undead units, which is, again, very, very useful. So, Jafsar actually starts out with some pretty good spells, and I'm very happy with Ramhotep's starting spell, even though we can't use it right now. Okay, now we have to be careful, but we need to kind of, coax them out here. So, I think maybe we'll use our chariots to kind of do that. So, let's park like this. Yeah, that's pretty good. And then we'll park our other chariot maybe like that. Yeah, that's fine. Again, we want to keep our heroes kind of I would say, out of harm's way as best we can. So we'll go kind of like this. Create sort of an umbrella shape here. Now, someone is going to have to actually go in and, you know, basically take a hit here, I think. Another option is we could actually... You know, what we could do is do this, and then turn around and fall back and get into defense mode. That's the beauty of this Throw Sun Spear, because it's basically a free move. It's actually very useful. So you know what, we can do the exact same thing over here now. Go like this, throw the spear, and then retreat back to safety and get into defense mode. Now they have to come out and attack us because we've hit them. Yeah, and there's that Undead Slayer having an impact, so again, we have to be very careful. But this Dire Vulture should go down pretty easily. And of course, this Tigran Muse does do spirit damage, which the undead are weak to, so let's kill off the Lost Soul while we're in the neighborhood. Very nice. And then our Shredder can perhaps step up. Ooh, and unfortunately not quite able to get the kill on the Lost Soul. Yeah, that's kind of annoying. So maybe what we'll do instead is we'll step up and we can hit the Dire Vulture for some damage. What about... Can we... Yeah, that's not going to get the kill either. What if we go closer with Jafsar? It's still not going to do it, so I think we're going to have to charge in and get the kill that way. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so that takes care of that. So now we just have to figure out how to finish off this Dire Vulture without too much trouble. So I think with Ramhotep, what we'll do is we'll charge around in behind like this. Do a nice big... Oh, and we got the critical flank and charge. That was huge. So yeah, big damage there and a nice kill. Oh, and look at that. We got a big beetle as an animal. Kind of cool. All right, yeah, I'll happily take that. And a decent amount of gold as well. Absolutely. Let's take a look at this. So this is like the beetle that the goblins ride, the tier 3 goblin cavalry unit rides. So this is like the goblin big beetle. This is just the big beetle itself. So as you can see here, the unit has tunneling, wall crushing, overwhelm, demolisher ×2. Yeah, this is kind of cool. So this might actually come in handy if we have to go underground, because again, we know at least 2 of our opponents are under there, and we're going to have to tunnel to get through some of those diggable walls potentially. So this could actually work out really well for us. So I'm actually quite glad I have them, and not to mention it's a tier 2 unit, so decently powerful. And it's not so bad having at least a couple of living units, because the rest of my units are, of course, all ghouls at this stage, so. Alright, that's going to about do it for our movement, I think. So we'll move back to our stack, and then next turn we're going to head down this way. Unfortunately, we've got this kind of wetland, which is limiting our movement potential. However, our beetle here actually could go up and grab the mana, so you know what? Let's do that. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. And then next turn, we'll bring the beetle back. Yeah, we've moved all of our scouts. We can go one further just to do a little bit more. Some haste berries down there, which we can try and take advantage of. Now, let's look at our research options here. Okay. So we've got... Now, Embrace Darkness. This is a good one. This is the one that's going to give our units extra lifesteal, which is really, really good. And it'll also make us dedicated to evil, our leaders and heroes, and also the units that are produced in that city that I throw this on. They will become dedicated to evil and gain that lifesteal. And this is from Shadowborne Adept. And then, of course, from Shadowborne Master, you get an ability, or excuse me, a spell that goes kind of along with this one that buffs all of your units that are dedicated to evil. So that's a nice 1-2 punch. Shrines of Unlife, this one's really nice. Extra mana and more population growth. But I think what we're going to do to start with is actually go for Summon Lost Soul. And that's mostly just so that we can get the extra units to use as scouts, and also just kind of to bolster our forces if need be. And then I think from there we'll probably start working on Shrines of Unlife. And the reason for that is because I want to try and get Healers of the Dead, which is an extremely powerful ability that makes it so that all of our support units will get Heal Undead. So that's kind of my goal there. I really, really want that upgrade. And I have to start chugging away at the Necromancer Empire upgrades to get it. So Anyway, enough yammering. Let's go to Tushari, our throne city. So here are some of the new units added by Chivalrous Intentions for Necromancer. So you can see we've got Skeleton Archer, Skeleton Warrior, and then regular Skeleton. And that's great because this offers us quite a bit of versatility here in terms of additional units. And look at that. I mean, we automatically have access to a ranged unit here, which normally we would have to build a barracks to even get access to a Shredder, for example. So that's actually really, really cool. I think what we'll start with, though, is kind of our classic Builder's Hall, just to get our production capability going. And then from there, we might do an Embalmer's Guild or something like that, but we'll have to decide. Let's do the Builder's Hall, though, and that'll kind of be what we'll start with. And that'll do it for our first turn. So we'll end it right there. All right. So now, while this turn is flipping over, I'm just going to zoom out and take a look. I guess the turn's already done. But so you can see we've kind of started off on the eastern portion of the map, which is nice. We've kind of got our backs to a corner. I can explore up here and maybe settle a city up here if there isn't one to take or capture. And this will be nice. I can kind of work my way out from the edge of the map. I really like that. I like starting kind of on the edge near a corner so I can at least kind of, you know, get my surroundings kind of locked down and then go from there. All right, so first things first, let's send our main stack down and do some fighting. Maybe before I do that, though, I should just do a touch more exploring. What I'd also like to find out is if there are any cave entrances or portals to the Shadow Realm, so Shadow Gates. Because if there are, I'm going to have to be sort of careful. So let's go like this. Ooh, and there's some gold. We can grab that. And then there's some extra population as well, which we can grab. So we definitely want to go there as well. I'm glad I sent my little scout that way. So now let's do a little bit more, because it looks like there's a... Okay, so we've got ourselves a dungeon over here. So once we're a bit stronger, this might be something worth clearing out. But for now, we're not quite powerful enough to do that. Okay. And then we've also got our beetle up here. I mean, I don't really want to use the beetle as a scout right now, given that it's a tier 2 unit, and I don't want to lose it. But I don't think there will be any roaming units out for at least another couple of turns. I think it's a turn 5 that those roaming units pop out. So let's proceed up this way. I will, you know, as I said, I will use it as a bit of a scout, even though I generally don't want to do that with a tier 2 unit like this. But given that we're still early, I think I can take advantage of it. All right, so that kind of does it for our scouting. So now let's actually do this battle here. Nice, another No Mercy. That's excellent. Getting us closer to being evil. A really kind of easy way to get lots of evil points is to just send out scouts, make contact with some of the other cities, and then just declare war on them right away. Because again, my plan is not to make vassals. My plan is to capture all the cities and then migrate them. Especially once I get access to my additional upgrades from being an expander. This is going to be kind of similar to that other battle where I just have to kind of goad them into getting closer to me, I think. Alright. Let's see if perhaps we can kill off the Nightmare first, and then I can use Raise Corpse on it to get myself a cadaver. That would be quite nice. Now, the only problem is that, of course, the Nightmare is going to be immune to my fire damage, so we're going to have to get closer, just like last time. Do that, and then run away. But I think what we'll do is we'll actually keep our chariot like that. And I think we're good there. They should come out to us now. Or not, okay. Well, you know what I'm going to do then is I'm going to do the exact same thing over here. Now let's see if they decide to come out this time. Yeah, there we go. Okay, attacking the hero, that's fine. So now what we'll do is we will step up, do some hefty damage here. Very nice. And then we should be able to just get the finish, I think, with some spirit damage. Oh, not quite. Yeah, if I could get a flank shot, perhaps. Yeah, there we go. Let's see, maybe. No, not quite. I would have had to get, like, a good roll on that one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Ramhotep to get the kill. Excellent. And then I'm going to retreat Jafsar back and then grab myself a cadaver. Very nice. And now I can charge in the kill there. And then do the same thing. I think I've used everybody else. Yep, okay, so then we'll do the same thing over here. I did take a bit of damage, but thankfully I've got Heal Undead with my 2 heroes, so I'm in good shape to recover that damage. Oh, nice, we got ourselves a Nightmare as well. I will happily take that. That's another tier 2 animal, so pretty strong. And of course, Dedicated to Evil, which is going to be a problem for me initially, as I currently am not evil, but I'll remedy that fairly soon, so I'm not worried. It does have Unholy Champion, which is kind of cool, and Lifesteal. Not to mention Lava Walking, so if I can get this unit underground, I could use it as an expensive Tier 2 Scout to scout out the lava. Whether or not I want to actually do that is another matter altogether, but... okay, so now let's grab these scrolls here. So I think one thing I want to do... Ooh, and I was going to say, unfortunately, my cheetahs over there are kind of getting harassed a little bit, so I'm going to run away with them. I don't want them to die off, especially since they're my scouts. So what I'm going to do with Jafsar is I'm going to heal up my chariot, and then we're going to attack the Wisp for some damage. Same thing here. Perfect. And then we can get the kill here, I think, no problem. Yep, there we go. All right, and then our Muse can head over and do some damage to that Wisp. Followed up by our Chariot. And then we can get the kill. No problem. Okay, perfect. As long as our... Okay, perfect. He's coming for me. That's what I wanted. I was going to say, as long as our cheetah doesn't get killed over there. So now, I think what I'm going to do is drop a heal onto my Royal Chariot. And then in the meantime, step up and start blasting this Ifrit for some damage. And I do have to be careful because my undead are weak to fire. Jafsar can advance. I don't think... Yeah, unfortunately, we can't raise a cadaver from the corpse of a Wisp, sadly. Well, I guess that does kind of make some sense. Boy, we could do some pretty hefty damage, actually, to this Ifrit. But that is a bit of a risk, and I don't necessarily want to do it. We could get in there and flank the Ifrit, however, which wouldn't be so bad. I just have to be careful because I don't want to lose the Royal Chariot here. So let's maybe go like this. Yeah, and there's some free damage. Unfortunately, we fumbled it, which isn't really ideal. Now we can charge in like this, however. Do that flank. So now that Ifrit's in rough shape. Yeah, there we go. No problem. Nice, and we are gaining some experience with some of our units here. You can see the Shredder has gotten a level up, as has the Royal Chariot. And there we go. Look at that, 110. That's huge. That's a massive boost in the early game. Real quick, I should also actually take a look at the Royal Chariot and see what we get as we level up here. So, at Veteran, we get Plains Running. At Expert, we get some Frost Protection, which is pretty cool. And then at Elite, we get Fear Strike. Now, that is great. You have a chance to basically fear an opponent when you hit them, which is actually a really big deal. So, yeah, I'm very much liking this Royal Chariot unit. Very, very cool. So we did get a level up, actually, with Ramhotep, which is fantastic. So I'm going to go with protection from light to give that extra spirit protection, but more importantly, the fire protection that we kind of need. That's going to help us out. All right, so now it looks like, again, we're kind of, this is sort of a dead end over here for now. We're not strong enough to take on the dungeon, of course. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to turn around and we're going to start heading back this way. We can head over to the farm at least, and then, yeah, we can head to this trading post next. And I think that's where we're going to go from here. So our Nightmare, on the other hand, can go do a little bit of free scouting. And I don't want to use my tier 2 units too much as scouts. But, again, we still got another couple of turns before they really have to worry about roaming units. So I think I'm going to, like I said, try and take advantage of that as much as possible. Oh, and look at this. Okay, we could actually do Shrines of Unlife in one fell swoop here. Now, that wouldn't be so bad. We could also get basic Seafaring instead. Stiffened Limbs. Boy, we've got some good choices here. As I said, though, I do want to get Shrines of Unlife going, mainly just because I need to get as many of these Empire upgrades for the Necromancer done so that I can get kind of the big ones that I really, really want. The only thing is, Shrines of Unlife doesn't really do anything for me at this point, whereas, like, Stiffened Limbs, again, I probably don't need it right now, given that my one hero already has it, but that is pretty powerful. Embrace Darkness, that's going to matter more when I'm producing units, which I'm not really going to be doing a ton of. And again, the way I play Necromancer is more so to take advantage of Greater Reanimate Undead and then Ghoul Curse. So I tend not to produce a ton of units, although again, I do like to use this on certain cities that I might really want certain types of units from. So, choices. I think I'm going to go Shrines of Unlife, even though, again, it's maybe not the most beneficial for me right now. I think it's a good one to go with, just to kind of get it out of the way here. All right, so now let's see what that leaves. Actually, Master of Puppets is a really good one, as is Vampiric Hunger. These are both good choices. This one is fantastic. Undead, irregular infantry, and pikeman units gain the life-stealing ability, which is very, very strong, of course. And if they already have some life-steal, that makes them even better. And again, Master of Puppets just improves their morale, which is really good, because, again, as undead, their morale is kind of hard to raise otherwise. Yeah, in terms of what to pick next. Now, these are longer choices that are going to take a lot longer to do. Seafaring might be useful if we need to actually get across the water in the near future, but I think I'm going to kind of gamble on not needing to cross water just yet. Expansionism would help if we have our little outposts. By the time we're done this one, though, our main city will not be an outpost anymore, so might not be quite as useful. Choices. I think I'm going to go Vampiric Hunger, to be perfectly honest. Well, you know, I've got a lot of cavalry units, though. That's maybe not quite as useful. Let's go Master of Puppets. I mean, again, I know it maybe isn't the smartest to go with the more expensive, in terms of knowledge cost, upgrades right now. But I just really want to get Healers of the Dead going, if I can. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Again, it's maybe not the, you know, the sort of textbook choice you should make in this situation, but I think it's going to be fine. All right, otherwise, that's going to do it for our turn, so I'm going to end it there. All right. So that's going to do it for the turn flipping over. Now, here we go. Okay, Whispers of the Fallen. Let's get that going. Perfect. Now, it's a shame that these battles that were nearby, we didn't get to take advantage of those, but any subsequent battle that's near our city, so for example, this one here for the trading post, and any others that are kind of in the nearby area, I think this is close enough. This gold mine perhaps would count. The Necromantic Circle, I think, is within 16, so that should also count. And again, if we can get more cities, then it expands the area that's going to be affected by the that spell. Oh yeah, look at that. Big population boost. Excellent. That's huge. Now you can see only 2 turns till it grows. We are running low on mana, though, so when the city grows, it'll encompass this mana node, which will kind of fix the mana problem, but we do need to be careful in terms of, you know, being very, well, we don't want to cast a bunch of spells at this point, is what I'm trying to say. Now let's send this Tigran unit over to do a little more scouting for us. Okay, yeah, it looks like we've got some gold mines up here. Ooh, an Orc Enforcer, an infantry unit. I really like the design of these guys. Oh, wow, they have Cause Fear. That's kind of cool. Warcry, Overwhelm, Inflict Crippling Wounds. And they're armored. Nice. Yeah, so I think if we can get over here, that's a lot of additional knowledge we can get from those battles. Not to mention experience and all that other good stuff. So, don't want our scouts getting too far away, but let's do just a tiny bit more while we're in this area. Okay. I think we'll start perhaps heading back. Although it would be nice to make contact here while we're in the area. Let's see, can we? Oh, we'd have to go into the mountains. I think I'd rather start running away. I don't want this unit getting killed by something spawned out of here, so I just don't think it's worth that risk. What we could do, though, is send this guy down kind of through the forest. Just see if there's anything. Production resources down here. That would be good for us. You know, actually, another city might fit right in here as well. I don't know. Once this grows, I think we would encompass this gold mine, but I don't think we would get these two. So maybe putting a city somewhere over here would be a good spot. We'll have to keep that in mind. Again, our big beetle here is going to just kind of truck on down the road and head back to the throne. And then again, we want to start building up an army for our hero to eventually split off. But for now, we want to keep him with our main stack so that we can keep getting experience. Kind of at a low risk. What I like to do with these little guys, because they do decay if they are away from a unit with heal undead for too long, they'll kind of just wither away to nothing. I wouldn't mind having him as a scout. The only problem is I've kind of scouted everything in the immediate area, so maybe not quite as useful. I mean, we could send him up into the mountains here and try to see what we can see, I guess. You know, kind of go up this way. I mean, they're really sort of a free unit that only costs a little bit of mana upkeep, which isn't too bad, so. Alright, let's engage this battle. We are up against Nomad Chieftain. The Nomad Chieftain has an ability called Oil Bolts, which does physical and fire, and then it can also hit us with Oil Impact and reduce our movement, morale, and give us extra fire weakness, so we will have to be careful. And of course, we've also got Throw Fire Plague. Attempts to plague target enemy unit. Infected units suffer -1 defense, -1 resistance, and 20% fire weakness. So I think the Nomads, if I'm not mistaken, are built... These are units added by the Wasteland Expansion. And this is actually a playable race that I eventually want to play as a Nomad, just to kind of showcase them. I've also got a magical mount. The unit receives +10 health, and it's also immune against the crippled effect and the feral mount effect. That's kind of a neat little effect there. Okay, and a Nomad Barbarian. Yeah, let's do this battle. But the point I was going to make is that the Nomads are built around kind of instilling fire weakness and then taking advantage of that. At least that's kind of part of my understanding. So obviously, if you're playing Undead, the Nomads could be really tough to deal with, just because obviously your units are susceptible to fire damage. Alright, so we will have to play this one a little bit cautious, given all of the cavalry and the movement range of them. Just want to make sure we stay out of that movement range as best we can. I'm hoping they come to us, but I don't know if they're gonna... Yeah, there they go. There's the oil bolts coming out. Ooh, ouch, and we got hit with some critical there. Thankfully, we resisted the Fire Plague. You know what? We can charge in here with our chariot and get a flank. The only problem is that's going to leave our chariot a little bit kind of high and dry. So maybe instead we just... Well, I'm not sure. So if we step over and light up the Barbarian for some... Well, not a ton of damage, but decent. If we step closer... There we go, that's a little more. That's pretty good, actually. Pretty good amount of damage. And then... Let's see. Yeah, there we go. Oh, look at that. Huge damage. I mean, can we actually get the kill like this? As long as we don't get the lowest of low rolls, we should get the kill here. Perfect. Okay, and now we can charge in and attack the chieftain. But before we do that, let's step up with Ramhotep here and do some damage. Just soften him up a little bit, maybe. And then over here with our saber-toothed chariot, we can charge in like this, in behind, for a nice big flank shot. Yeah, there we go. And then we can do the same thing with Jasfar here, or excuse me, Jafsar. We can charge in and do some pretty hefty damage. I just got to make sure that my hero isn't in too much danger. So maybe instead what I'll do, yeah, is hit him with the flanking. Oh yeah, that's pretty good damage. Yeah, there we go. All right, and then we can charge in with our Royal Chariot here, so let's do that. Nice, we've tied that unit up. I think we're in good shape. I was going to say, oh no! Okay, well, look at that. So our Saber-Tooth Chariot got absolutely lit up by all that fire damage. Yeah, there we go. I got a little overconfident, and look what happens. Yikes. Well, that sucks to lose that unit, but you know what? That's what happens when you, when you get a little overconfident like that. That's what happens. All right, we're gonna kill that unit, and then, oh boy, yikes! These nomads are scary. Let's get the kill. Okay, and then at least we can get our Royal Chariot over to do some damage. What I would like to do is throw on... Yeah, there we go. And the reason for that is now this cadaver is already a bronze medal, which is pretty decent. If we can get him up to a gold medal, then he gets resurgence, which basically means I can use him as a... I can run him in and, you know, if he gets killed, it doesn't matter, because he'll come back. So I can do all kinds of good stuff if I do that. So let's charge in behind and do a flank. And then do a flank shot here. Nice. Yeah, it really sucks losing that chariot. Thankfully, I'm at least able to salvage the experience that he had gained, but that is still painful. Man, yeah, and that's, again, that's what happens when you let things go to your head and you think, oh, it's fine, you know, it'll tank the damage, it's all good. That's what happens. All right, let's equip the torso gear to Ramhotep. Meanwhile, the urban concealment gem, I'm just going to sell. We don't really need that. Extra gold is nice, a little bit extra mana as well. And we did level up our hero, Jafsar. Again, he will be leading his own stack eventually, so I am going to grab protection from light with him, even though for now it's not going to do anything, given that he's not leading a stack. So now, as for where to go, I think our main stack, we want to probably head south, kind of loop down around here, clear out this necromantic circle, and then make contact with this city over here, and take it over. So that's going to be the game plan. So we're going to head down to this gold mine, I think. And we can also clear out the Earth node as well, getting that extra experience. And then... Now, we can start summoning a Lost Soul. The only problem is, again, our mana is kind of a problem at the moment. But I think we can start doing this, and we're still... Yeah, we're going to be fine for a few turns at least. And again, in one more turn, we're going to have this mana node, which will kind of fix our our mana problem, at least for the short term. Although once we summon this unit, it will have upkeep, which then we have to worry about. So anyway, let's end our turn there. Just zooming out. So yeah, we've done a decent job of kind of getting an eye on what's going on around our city. And so far, like I said, I haven't seen any portals to the Shadow Realm or any tunnels to get underground, which is good because... Oh, actually, now that I say that, there's one. So I find zooming out, you can see that up-down arrow. Yeah, so there's a cave entrance, so we will have to go and investigate that. At least now we know it's there, and we don't want to get, you know, surprised by units coming out of that, so... Oh, nice, and there's a tomb. That's exactly what we need near our throne city. So eventually, once we're strong enough, we can send our units back over to try and clear it out. All right, let's head down. And we can actually start maybe heading over to the cave entrance, because we do want to see what's in there. Again, we want to send this nightmare back up. I think I'm going to sort of regroup my units a little bit near the throne city. So these animals, I want to kind of create a bit of an army, like I said, at the throne. For now, we'll just have them sit there. Not the most efficient use of a somewhat expensive unit, but I think that's fine for now. This little guy's going to just go into the mountains and see what he can see until he eventually withers away to nothing. This little guy, I guess, you know what? We could maybe keep going. Oh, there's a watchtower. That would be good to clear out eventually. And let's go here. We can cross the mountains and get kind of back in here and see what's over on this side near the city. So we will lock in that movement path. For this guy, we're going to lock in the mountain path. Now for our main stack, we can do some fighting here, so let's do it. Now the question as well is it worth going all the way over here for the production resources? I think no, because eventually we want to come back and clear the tomb, and when we do, we can also grab the production resources, even though those are very nice to get at this point. And you can see there's our cadaver, so we're going to keep him with the stack and try to level him up. All right, let's engage this battle. Alright, so we're up against Snapper Crab and then some Kobold units. Shouldn't be too much of an issue here. Light up the crab for some damage. Nice criticals in the kill there, no problem. Alright, and then we'll let them come to us. Ouch, took a bit of damage there. Oof. Hefty amount of damage. Thankfully, we can heal. So we'll heal undead. There we go. Now, I'm noticing that these units inspire the units around them. Inspiring aura. Or maybe... Yeah, here it is. Every friendly unit within a 1-hex range receives... Wow, okay, so that actually improves the morale of units around them. I should probably take more advantage of this, because that increases your odds of getting criticals. So, that's actually really good. Let's see. Oh, nice. We can do some flanking hits there. That's good. We can jump up behind and get the kill like this. Then we can step up. Do some flanking damage there. And then it's just a matter of how we want to actually get the kill. I think I'm going to actually drop another heal here. Yeah, and then we'll do this. There we go. Very nice. That's one battle down. Nice, some extra mana. And there, now that our city is bigger, you can see we've got that mana node, and we're at least in the positive, although that's going to end when we summon ourselves another Lost Soul. So we will have to improve our mana income. Perhaps we'll build a shrine to, and that, you know, and Shrines of Unlife will help us out there, actually. So maybe that's something we'll do next. We'll have to decide when we finish off the Builder's Hall. So now let's take on this gold mine. We'll do no mercy. We want that extra evil points, not to mention the experience of battle. And I think this is going to probably be the last thing I do this episode. So let's get this one going. We're up against a rat catcher, night watch, and a bowman. Nothing too crazy. Should be able to handle it. Or a royal chariot. It's going to go up the gut here, kind of up the middle. Muse can kind of follow along. Actually, we'll go like that with our hero. Because I want to send the cadavers kind of... Alright, he's going to attack. Oh, he tried to throw a net at our chariot. Thankfully resisted. And then the cadaver can just advance real aggressive. So now we can really light up this rat catcher for some big damage here. So I'm going to go like this. Oh yeah, critical. That was huge. Again, that inspiring aura really helping out, I think, there. Increasing our chance to get some criticals. Shredder can advance. Ooh, and look at that. Light up the Night Watch for some nice damage. And then our chariot here can't get into melee range, but can do that and then allow our hero to come in and get the kill. Perfect. And look at that, bleeding on those Night Watch as well. Nice kill there from our chariot. Perfect. There's some extra gold. All right, so I think we'll just, yeah, we'll move this stack this direction. We'll come over, clear out the Necromantic Circle, clear out this Well of Souls, and then just kind of swoop in, take the city, take it by force, and then absorb it. Again, being undead has its perks. We don't really have to worry about happiness or morale or anything like that in the same way. So yeah, that's going to end the turn. So I think that's where we'll leave it for this episode. So there it is. There's Tushari, and of course we've got our eye on Tungale as well. So pretty good start, I think. We're going to save this one. We're going to call it Tigran Necromancer #1. And as always, guys, thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I will see you in the next one.